I am David Cross, and my only biological son is Quincy Omar Cross.
I know this is going back almost 50 years, but do you remember the moment that your girlfriend was pregnant with Quincy?
Not the moment, but a few months.
How did you feel when you found out that she was pregnant?
I was elated, man. I always wanted a son, Yeah, I was glad.
Were you excited, nervous,
Yeah,
scared?
excited. Yeah.
How did you come up with the name Quincy Omar?
No, that was on her side. They came up with that.
Do you know the meaning behind his first and middle name, or if there is any?
I put it this way. No, I didn't research it or nothing like that. That was her. Her and her people named him, but I was satisfied with it.
Do you remember the moment that your baby boy was born?
No, I don't remember the moment. But I remember I got to the hospital. I didn't make it I didn't know she was in labor, because see, I lived about 35 miles where she lived at, but they took her to the hospital, and then they called me. So by the time I got there, he had arrived.
Do you remember the moment that you got to hold him and
Yeah.
see him for the first time?
Yeah, I remember.
What were you feeling?
Like I said, I was proud. I was elated, because I always wanted a son. Yep, I was glad.
How would you describe the environment of the household growing up with yourself, Quincy, and your then girlfriend, Wanda?
Well, we didn't live together, but she had her place. Well, she lived with her mom for a little while, and then she had her place. She had other siblings. Quincy was third from the last. She had. You met some of them that was here. So she had her own place and everything. But like I said, I had my own place at the time. But I always came and got him on the weekend and stuff like that. Kept him, and he stayed over at my mom's house a lot. So it worked out real good. We were satisfied with the arrangement.
Do you remember what Quincy's behavior was like growing up at home and as well as school? When it came to personality, did he ever get in fights? Was he a class clown?
Well, I mean, he was kind of a funny type person. Like I said, I wouldn't say he was a class clown, but he was fun to be around. I mean, he liked to joke with people and stuff like that, and he loved sports. He loved playing baseball and football and stuff like that, basketball. And he was a happy kid. He was really a happy fella, and he had a lot of friends. So,
give me your two most favorite memories that you have with Quincy when he was a child that you can remember.
Well, playing football. He loved to play football. And I used to go to the games, So
what position did he play?
I don't even remember. It's been so long ago, but he loved to play football and baseball, but I think he loved to play football better. So, but and too, a lot of my fun memories was during the holidays, like Christmas, things like that. He enjoyed that, and his grandmother, he used to love fishing. Now, that's one thing I forgot to say, because him and his grandmother used to go fishing all the time. A lot of times I'd come and pick him up, and he'd be gone fishing with his grandmother. So.
Was there ever any trouble with you or your girlfriend, Wanda, you had at home with Quincy, throughout his childhood?
No, not really until he got to be a teenager. He got in little stuff like teenagers do. No, he wasn't really a bad kid, and like I said, he was pretty popular around the neighborhood because his family was too. So No, nothing bad. I put it that way.
Did Quincy have any friends by the name of Jeffrey, Tamara, Venetia, Victoria, Rosie, Austin, or Isaac that you knew of?
No. No, not at all.
Okay, so in July 2000, when you were living in Tennessee, did you hear about the murder of Jessica Kern in Mayfield, Kentucky?
Yeah, I did, but it was quite a while after the murder. You know, it wasn't nothing like right now. You know, but yeah, I did hear about it, but you know, never thought nothing about it.
Can you talk about July 30th, 2000, the day Quincy was arrested, and you know, mention the phone calls that you have the records of, and maybe if you got a phone call the day he was arrested?
No, I didn't. I didn't know I didn't know that he was arrested for about 3-4 days after that. You know, I guess they finally let him have a phone call or something, and he called, and we were shocked. I was shocked. I was devastated, you know, because I know he's not that type of person. I knew he wouldn't have nothing to do with no murder. But no, I didn't know at the time not that, you know, he was arrested. Like I say, he had been in jail probably about 4 days before I even knew anything about it.
I'm talking specifically when it came to the residue charge and then the broken gun charge. Do you remember when he was arrested for those after his car, you know, ran out of gas and all that? Do you remember when he was arrested then?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. During that time, I think it was about 3 days before I knew he was in jail. He hadn't called me. I don't know whether his mother knew he was in jail or not, but no, I didn't know until it was about 3 days before I knew he was in jail for that.
Were you afraid that something might have happened to him or so since you hadn't heard from him in 3 days? Were you worried or?
Well, no, because he wasn't living with me at the time. He was living with what's her name? She was up here the other day. He was living with his girlfriend.
Oh, Melissa.
Yeah. No, wait a minute, let me see. Not Melissa.
Tamara?
Let me see. No. He wasn't living with Tamara because he didn't meet Tamara until 2002. But he was living somewhere else. I put it that way. And you know, I'd see him maybe once a week, or twice a week, or sometimes like that. But no, I didn't think nothing about it because, like I said, you know, not seeing him, I didn't see him often because, like I said, you know, at that time he was grown, you know.
Were you contacted by any type of law enforcement agency between the year 2000 and 2006 about the murder of Jessica Kern implicating your son?
No. First time I was contacted by anybody is some kind of reporter had left a message on my door because I was working there, and said he wanted to talk to Quincy, you know, and about the Jessica Kern murder case. But as far as hearing from a law enforcement officer, no, I didn't hear from them at all.
When you first learned that your son was being implicated in a murder, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
Well, that wasn't Quincy's MO. Quincy, you know, it didn't worry me at all because I know Quincy, that you know, Quincy's not the type of person to kill nobody. So I figured it was one of these railroad things, in which that's what it ended up being. I figured, you know, if somebody was accusing him of murder, then it, you know, like I said, it didn't worry me at all because I knew that wasn't him. You know, he didn't murder nobody. You know, because I mean, like I said, after he got grown, he wasn't in no skirmishes or nothing like that, no fighting and going on that wasn't him, you know. So I figured somebody had the wrong person. Of course, I ended up being right when I heard that. But, you know, that's the way that went.
Can you speak about the incident in which, I don't know if it was an agent or whatnot, came to your door wanting to go in there with a shotgun, starting with him knocking on your door and go from there?
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, it was on a Friday night. And I went to bed. At the time, I lived by myself, you know, so I went to bed and somebody knocked on the door. So I go to the door and I see it's a police officer. So, you know, I'm asking what's the deal? And they start hollering at me. Open the door, open the door, open the door. And no, it don't work that way. You know, what's going on? If you open the door, we'll tell you. And they really didn't tell me what was going on for a while. So I talked to one policeman and he said, well, I need to talk to you. I said, well, okay, fine. I mean, you know, I know I ain't done nothing, so I ain't got nothing to hide. So I went to let him in, and a guy run by with a shotgun, ran all through my house. And of course, wasn't nobody there but me, so he finally came out, you know, and it ticked me off. And then they went to telling me that they was looking for Quincy Cross for murder. Murder who? The murder of Jessica Karen. So, man, I know y'all got the wrong one, you know. I said, Quincy ain't murdered nobody. Oh, we got a room full of evidence. That's what they told me. And that whole night, when I said, look, I'm going back in the house, I'm going to bed. That whole half of that night, up and down the road, up and down the road, up and down the road, because they was asking, they thought I knew where he was, you know. Asked me, I said, no. I said, you know, I might see him today, I might not see him for 2 weeks, you know, he grown, you know. But anyway, I got tired of that, so I decided, I said, well, they ain't gonna let me sleep tonight, so I got in the car. I was gonna go up to my girlfriend's house. They stopped me, made me stand behind the car, searched my car. Then it made me mad. They got mad about that. I said, well, hey, y'all, this is my house. Y'all ain't gonna run me away from my house. I turned around, got in the car, and came on back to my house. So I guess they finally left about daybreak. You know, they was ripping and running up and down the road. Like I was trying to hide him out somewhere where, you know, I didn't even know where he was.
When they made you get out of your car and search it, did they have a warrant?
No.
They showed you?
No. No, you know, these crooked cops, they don't care. They don't play by no rules. No, they have no warrant.
When it came on the news that Quincy was armed and dangerous and that they were looking for him, what was your reaction seeing that? Were you afraid that they might kill him?
I knew they was gonna kill him. I knew if they found him, they was gonna kill him. So my niece called her son and asked him if he could find Quincy, and evidently he did. And we told him, we'll tell Quincy to turn himself in, you know. So he did find Quincy. I think Quincy was over to Melissa's house at the time. He found Quincy, and Quincy said he had just seen it on the television that they was looking for him and he was armed and dangerous, right? So we told him, hey, if you find Quincy, tell him to turn himself in. So that's exactly what Quincy did. He got in a van with him, and we told him, well, the best thing for you to do is go to Hickman. That's the closest Kentucky place. Go turn yourself in Hickman. And he agreed to it. He said, yeah. He said, I want to clear my name. So he got in the van and he went down there, and there's a policeman I knew that they turned himself into, and I'd be dog. after he got in the jailhouse, they came up with a concoction like, well, we don't have no warrant for your arrest. You know, you free to go. You free to go. He said, no, I ain't going nowhere, man. He said, I am not going nowhere. They said, well, look, we don't have no warrant for your arrest. So what they would want him to do is walk outside the jailhouse. And they probably would have shot him on sight. But they told him that he was free to go. And he said, man, I ain't going nowhere. He said, you lock me up. He said, because I seen on TV where they looking for me, you know, and I'm supposed to be armed and dangerous. He said, then they'll kill me like that. And so finally, I guess they figured out he wasn't stupid enough to walk out. And they called whatever was looking for him, and they came and got him. And then I guess that's when they call themselves interrogating him.
So was that interrogation, or was that when he was officially charged?
I can't say. I don't remember. I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't know whether he was officially charged or not. But I figure if they done put it on TV that he's armed and dangerous, then, I mean, that speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? And make it sound like, well, you know, you shoot him on sight or something. He ain't have no gun, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't the kind to carry no gun around, so he didn't even own no gun. But they had him armed and dangerous, so that's the way that went.
Were you present throughout Quincy's trial up until he was convicted?
No. They wouldn't even let us sit in on the jury, picking the jury. The judge told us flat out, don't come because we're not gonna let you in.
And then, why?
Yeah. You know what they said? Because of space. We're gonna have a lot of people in here and there won't be enough space for y'all. That's what they told us. He told us plain out, do not come because we're not gonna let you in the courtroom. So they wouldn't let us even sit in on the jury. What he told us.
Did you have any communication with Quincy's legal team while he was on trial, or with the prosecution, whether it was testifying on behalf of Quincy's, behalf, or?
Well, no, I didn't. Of course, I didn't have no contact with the prosecution at all. I had little contact with his legal team, as far as calling them on the phone and stuff. And most of the time, it was something like, well, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Quincy was in jail when this girl was killed, we can prove it and all that. As far as sitting down, meeting with him, no, they never had time for that. The only time we got really to sit down and talk to him, was about a week or two before the trial. Then they was wanting us to get people to talk to him and all that kind of stuff. Which, 2 weeks before the trial, you supposed to done got that done. After Quincy and them done been in jail for over a year, and then they wanted us to run out and talk to this person and talk to that person. But anyway, they had us under the impression that, everything was all right. They was gonna bring up the timelines and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, it was very little stuff. If you looked at the trial, it was very little stuff that they even kicked on, as far as objecting to. So, he didn't have nowhere near the defense that he should have had. As a matter of fact, a time or two, Vince was sick and he nodding off, in trial, you know what I'm saying? So, we knew then that he wasn't gonna get no fair trial or no decent defense. So that's the way that went.
Even though you guys weren't able to be in the courtroom throughout his trial, what was the overall feeling with your entire family while Quincy was on trial, waiting to, for either innocent or guilty verdict?
Well, like I said, we know, just looking at the trial, you knew it was a kangaroo court. I mean, the jury didn't even act like they was interested in the evidence, what little evidence they was putting on. We were devastated, we was completely devastated. But we had hope that at least the jury would listen halfway to what was going on, but it seems like that they wasn't paying no attention to what was going on in the courtroom, so like we know now that it didn't make no difference what kind of animal Quincy could have been a snake. He was gonna get convicted no matter what. No matter what. That's the reason why they split him up. That was one of the reasons they split him up. At first, he was supposed to be the trial was supposed to be in Quincy County, plumb on up to about 2 weeks before the trial. The judge was saying they wasn't gonna split them up. They was all gonna go to trial at one time. Well, 2 weeks before the trial, they decided to throw Quincy out first, and Vince, his lawyers, told him that he didn't have enough time to prepare his case, for 2 weeks, because they had already. Their strategy was that they was going to all go to trial at the same time. So that's the way that went.
After Quincy was convicted and sentenced to 3 inevitable life sentences, how did you react at the time?
I was devastated. Losing your only son to a lie, and I could have proved. I could have did a better job to represent him than his lawyers did. We was all devastated. That's right. We was devastated. It took me a long time for that to sink in, man. And he's been in prison for 15 years. And right now, I don't think I've totally come to reality that that could happen to somebody in this day and time. But it did. And I'm still devastated.
Do you have any theories or opinions as to why Quincy's name was drug into this case?
Money. What's her name? Rosie Christ. She said in court that her sister, Sam Steger, and her sister made a phone call to her and offered her $100 for her to put Quincy into this. And she said that at the time she was a drug addict, and she would say anything for $100. They thought that they could concoct some way to they had a reward out, or whatever you call it, for some information. And they thought that they would concoct some way of getting the reward. I forget how much it was, but that's what brought him into this case.
Can you talk about your friendship with Joe Kern and what it means to you all these years later with this entire tragedy that's come about for the both of you?
Well, we are pretty tight because what we trying to do is we got the same interests. Mr. Kern he's wanting justice for his daughter, and I'm wanting justice for my son. And he knows that he don't have justice, and heaven knows that I don't have justice. So, I mean, that's what brought us together. is wanting the truth. That's my whole purpose, is someday, some way, my son being able to come home. He's been away for no reason. They took his life for no reason at all. And the parents, I feel for them because they've been off into this for 20-something years and for a lie. And, you know, they just been hoodwinked. That's what really happened. They just been hoodwinked and have no justice. And until you all came along, or somebody that really was honest, we weren't gonna get no justice. It wasn't no way to get no justice because nobody wanted to be truthful. So we've been going through this, like I said, he's been going through this for 20-something years, him and his family, and I feel for them. But I've been going through this for almost 16 years now, and like I say, I totally don't think that in all that it sunk in that somebody took my son's life for no reason at all. Because I know that he is innocent. I know he's innocent. And now that the facts, some of the facts have come out, anybody with an open mind can see that it's a lot wrong with this case. It's a whole lot wrong with this case. So that's the way I see it. My son did not kill Jessica Curran. He did not know Jessica Curran, didn't know nothing about this murder. He never met Jessica Curran. He was just somebody that was from outside. They thought that was thrown away. He didn't know Tamara Caldwell. He didn't know Jeffrey Burden. And right now, him and Jeffrey Burden haven't met each other. So now how can you do a crime and not even know each other? That's really hurtful on everybody's part.